Hello and welcome. When we think of the Ottoman Empire, what comes to mind? For many, it's an empire of legendary power. We picture mighty armies, the Janissaries marching in perfect unison, and the breathtaking domes and minarets of Istanbul piercing the sky. We imagine the splendor of Topkapi Palace, a world of intricate tiles, lavish courtyards, and whispered secrets of sultans. It's a story of 6 centuries of conquest, culture, and glory that shape the world we live in today. The music shifts, becoming more somber and mysterious. The visuals transition to darker, more suggestive imagery. Battlefields after a fight, shadowed hallways, and artistic depictions of captives. But beneath this gleaming surface of gold and marble lies a much darker, often untold story. A story of what happened asterisk after asterisk the battles were won. When the Ottoman armies crushed their enemies, the fate of the defeated warriors was often swift and final. But for their families, especially their wives and daughters, the end of the battle was just the beginning of a terrifying new reality. Their ordeal was a chilling, systematic process, a consequence of conquest that history has often preferred to forget. Show artistic renderings or dramatic reenactments of captives being rounded up after a battle. The tone should be serious and respectful. Imagine the scene. A city has fallen, its defenses breached, its soldiers defeated. As the smoke clears, the process of division begins. The women, mothers, wives, and daughters of the defeated were considered spoils of war. Their lives were no longer their own. Some were paraded and sold in open-air markets, their value determined by their age, health, and beauty. This was a brutal, dehumanizing experience where human beings were treated as mere commodities. Others were distributed among the victorious soldiers as a reward for their service. Handed over as prizes, they were taken far from their homes, their pasts erased in an instant. They were scattered across the vast empire, their fates entirely dependent on the whims of their new masters. For these women, every familiar face, every comfort of home, was gone forever, replaced by uncertainty and servitude in a foreign land. Visuals focus on the journey to Istanbul. Shots of old maps tracing the route, caravans and ships sailing towards the capital. The music becomes more poignant. But for a select few, a different fate awaited. The youngest, healthiest, and most beautiful women were reserved for a special destination. They were not sold in the markets or given to common soldiers. Instead, they were taken on a long, arduous journey to the heart of the empire, to the glittering capital of Istanbul. Their destination was the epicenter of Ottoman power, the Sultan's palace itself. They were destined for the imperial harem. Show stunning but imposing visuals of Topkapi Palace, focusing on the harem's ornate but enclosed architecture. Emphasize the guarded gates and high walls. The word harem often conjures images of fantasy and luxury, a world of silk cushions, fragrant gardens, and beautiful women dedicated to the Sultan's pleasure. And while there was undeniable luxury, this popular image hides a much grimmer truth. For the women who entered its gates, the harem was a gilded cage. It was a prison disguised as a paradise. Their names were taken from them, replaced with new Turkish or Persian names that signified equality, like Gulbahar, meaning spring rose, or Huma, a mythical bird of paradise. This wasn't just a name change. It was an act of erasing their identity, their family, their heritage. They were forced to convert to Islam and were taught the Turkish language, court etiquette, and various arts like music, dance, and poetry. They were being remolded, reshaped into suitable servants and companions for the most powerful man in the world. Visuals show artistic depictions of women in the harem, learning music, reading, or weaving. The mood is one of quiet, melancholy, not exotic fantasy. Life inside the harem was a strict, hierarchical society ruled with an iron fist by the Sultan's mother, the valid Sultan. Below her were the Sultan's favorite concubines, the mothers of his children, and then a vast population of other women and eunuch guards who managed the day-to-day operations. Every woman's position was precarious, subject to the favor of the Sultan and the intricate politics of the court. It was a world of intense competition, where a single misstep could lead to ruin, and a moment of favor could elevate a woman to unimaginable heights. Focus on the concept of power within the harem. Show portraits of famous and powerful women, like Hurrem Sultan or Sultan. It's true that some women manage to navigate this treacherous world and achieve incredible power. A concubine who caught the Sultan's eye could become a favorite, an asterisk, Iqbal, asterisk. If she bore him a son, she rose to the rank of asterisk Caden asterisk, one of his official consorts. And if her son one day became Sultan, she would achieve the ultimate position of power for a woman in the Ottoman Empire, the valid Sultan, the Queen Mother, who often ruled as a de facto regent. Women like Hurrem Sultan, a captive from Ruthenia, rose from slavery to become the legal wife of Suleiman the Magnificent, influencing state affairs and corresponding with European kings. Her story is a testament to the extraordinary possibilities, however rare. The music and visuals shift back to a more somber tone, showing anonymous faces, shadowed figures, and empty, silent corridors of the palace. But the stories of women like Harem are the exception, not the rule. They are the stories that were recorded because they were extraordinary. Every woman who rose to prominence, there were hundreds, perhaps thousands, whose names and stories have been lost to time. Most of the women who entered the harem never even met the Sultan. They lived out their lives in servitude, performing domestic tasks, serving the more senior women, and growing old within the palace walls. They were ghosts in their own lives, their suffering silent, their dreams extinguished. They were cut off from the outside world, their families likely never knowing what became of them. For these women, the splendor of the palace was a constant, painful reminder of everything they had lost. Theirs was a story of quiet endurance, a life sentence served behind silken curtains and under golden ceilings. Their suffering was erased from the grand narrative of history. Turn to the initial theme, contrasting the glory of the empire with the suffering of these women. Use powerful reflective imagery. This was the ultimate cruel irony for the wives and daughters of the defeated. It wasn't just that their husbands and fathers were killed, or that their homes were destroyed. It was that they themselves were absorbed into the very empire that had shattered their world. They were forced to serve the system that was responsible for their pain, their children becoming part of the dynasty that had conquered their people. Their personal tragedy became the foundation for the continuation of their enemy's legacy. So, when we look at the majestic mosques and palaces of the Ottoman Empire, it's important to remember that they were built not only with stone and mortar, but also on the foundations of countless broken lives. The story of the Ottomans is not just a tale of sultans and warriors. It is also a story written in the silence of the women who were captured, renamed, and locked away, their voices never allowed to be heard. Their forgotten experience is a crucial, somber chapter in the history of this mighty empire. The music softens, becoming thoughtful and concluding. The video ends with a final, lingering shot of an empty, ornate room in the Topkapi Harem. Thank you for joining me on this journey into a lesser-known side of history. It's a powerful reminder that behind the grand narratives of empires and conquests, there are always personal, human stories that deserve to be told. If you found this video insightful, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into the past. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Till next time, stay curious.